Hello there. I am Lisa Fulford and I'm your creative coach, and we are doing mystery stamping this morning. It's 11 o'clock on October the 2nd, and so I guess it's a few minutes past. I was having some difficulty finding things, but we will get started with the mystery card. So if this is your first time here, what mystery stamping is all about is that you receive clues. And so it's over on my business Facebook page and my group. That's a private group for mystery stamping. But if you join my email, then I try to mail them out to you. But so you go through the clues, and that's what's right here on my countertop. And with those clues, you cut the paper and the cardstock to the dimensions that are on the clue list. And then we join together on live here. And then we put it together. You can either stamp along or you can wait and just watch it and then watch the replay and stamp along with that, so that you have some idea where the card is going. So I have a lot of fun with it, bringing it to all of you. And maybe if you're a little bit stuck on some creativity, need some inspiration, a lot of times this gets things going because you're trying to figure out what it is that I have planned, instead of you just thinking, oh, I've got to come up with this. So it's a lot of fun. So let's get started with the card. All right, so let me see if I turn on a light, because if I open the window anymore, that's perfect. It bounces off too many things, and so I think that will be enough light. If not, then I can add one more light. All right, so this drives me crazy that it's not straight. There we go. I got it. Sorry for bouncing that around. All right, so here are the clues. And the cardstock can either be 8.5 by 5.5, or it can be 11 by 4.25. I used to say which of them to do, but I'm making it your choice. You can make it whichever direction you want. Now, if it's a card that takes a certain direction, then I will add that to your clues. So I'm going to grab my pieces here so that I can put them out as I'm telling you. So there is the our card base. If I can scoot that over just a little bit more. Now, let me take that off, or maybe there. All right, so now we can scoot that all the way over. All right, so this is 8.5 by 5.5. And then I have the basic white. I have a 5.25 by 4, and it's embossed. So I have that right there. And you can use any product you have in your stash. So this is not anything particular. You use what you have, and then I pull from what I have here. And then I have another piece that's 3.5 by 4.75. And then our coordinating cardstock, I'm using the same color of what my base is. So 1.25 by 4. So there's that piece. And 1.25 by 3. And I have 2 of those. And then for the DSP, we have 1.125 by excuse me, 1.125 by 2 7/8. Excuse me, I'm gonna lose my voice. And there's 2 of those, and then a piece for your sentiment. And so I have this piece right here, but I've already stamped my sentiment on there. Pardon me. I need to take a drink, sorry. I have lots of allergies. Makes me lose my voice. Okay, so that is all of the pieces here. Now there's some optional things that you can use to embellish. And so I have some embellishments here, and they are, let's see, the low profile dots. So I have that. So that will go on. There we go. All right, so let's get started. My card base, I'm going to fold this and burnish. Now, at the end, am going to try to remember to show you a trick that I have figured out, because I cut so much cardstock that my paper starts fraying. And so I don't know, you can see this really jagged edge right here. And right over here, it's like you can see those little bits. And I have to end up taking a thing and sanding where I cut. I thought I'd already sanded that, so I did not. So I will try to show you a little tip on how to make it where that does not happen. All right, so there's my base. We're going to bring in the embossed piece, and we're going to add some glue. Reach my glue. We're going to add some glue to the back of that embossed piece. I like doing corners and then around the outside, just because, especially with an embossed piece, because you have less surface for your glue to adhere to, because it's debossed on the side. But I like to do the corners, because if the corners come loose, then your layer will get snagged and it could tear. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to bring these two pieces in, and these two. I already sanded these. And what I did was I cut one piece, being this is 1 1/8. I cut one piece and then cut it down the middle. So now I need to decide how it went. Oh, there, I already have it. And you could use either side. I wanted a nice print. And I could have said, you know, cut it in half. But you might want 2 separate DSPs. Usually if it's this small of a piece, most people would think to just use ones. And it's not a very big border. Just be careful when you're putting it down. Try not to go too fast with mystery stamping, because if you are crafting along, I don't want to get way ahead of you. If you shared this event, thank you so much. I have a few shares on there. I appreciate everybody's likes and the shares. I really do appreciate that. All right, so those will dry and adhere together. We're going to bring this piece in, and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. Now, by doing this, the reason why is if you would by chance cut this and have white showing through, it's very noticeable. But if you pop it up, so that's a tip. If you cut a piece that you're trying to make it the width and so that it looks like it's uniform, but you get it just a little bit short, if you pop that piece up, a lot of times you don't notice it. So that's just a tip. I try not to overcut, but a lot of times if I'm cutting a piece, I will add just a little bit extra to it and then cut away what I don't need. But I hate to do that because I can't quite cut a straight line with scissors when it's on the card. All right, so I'm going to bring this in, and I want to try to line that up, and it does have the dimensionals, but I can adjust it just a little bit because I haven't pressed it down. So I'm going to lay that there. Nope, I want to go a little higher. I don't know which is worse. Morning noises outside. I hope you can't hear those. You shouldn't be able to. But like trash trucks, people mowing. But then in the afternoon or evening, there we go. Then there's dirt bikes and all kinds of stuff. I don't really live in the country anymore. It's developed around me, but it gets kind of noisy here. All right, so I'm going to add 2 dimensionals on each end of both of these. And the reason why I'm doing that is this piece has dimensionals on the back of it, and these are going over and across. So you kind of need some dimensionals, but then I also need, through the center, need some glue. Pull those dimensionals off the backs. I've been trying to do at least 1 Christmas card per week. A lot of times, all of them will be Christmas cards except for my countdown to Halloween. And so this way I get all my Christmas cards finished to where when the time comes, I can mail them out. And sometimes I go ahead and start addressing my envelopes. So I'm just trying to center those across that one that goes horizontal, and then when I get there, I'll press everything down. That looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to press all those bits and pieces down. We're almost finished. Now I'm going to take this piece, and I'm just going to add glue because we're getting some height to our card already. And I don't want to keep building on that because we're going to add some embellishments. So this piece I'm just going to, and yours can be whatever size. I started out with a larger piece, stamped what I wanted, and then I cut it down. So I want to put this across the center. Now you could put it down here, but I want mine to go across the center, and I'm looking at this for reference for centering up and down. And then I'm looking at the edges of my DSP for reference of where to place that. Sometimes if I pick it up and just tilt it just a bit. See, I haven't pressed this down yet, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to press now. So there's that. And then we'll bring in my embellishments. And the color that I'm using is that Secret Sea. I love that color. And that's the ink that I used, was Secret Sea. And so that's what I did, that stamping. This looks crooked, I think. There. I think when I pressed it, it must have slid a little bit. That happens. There's my take your pick tool. And we are going to grab, it's hard to see what sizes they are. So I'm going to put one up there, the larger ones. I'm going to grab a smaller one and go there. And then let's see, a larger one again. And put over here. Put one there. And there. And then, I'm going to put one on the center of that flower. I could put more, but I just want one on my image. Then let's take our piece for the inside. Now you could go ahead and stamp a sentiment on this. I'm going to just add one strip of glue right here and put it on the inside. You notice if you go to Hallmark or Walmart or any place that sells cards, a lot of times that inside piece is not completely adhered down. It's just adhered down at the top. There we go. So when you're making multiples of the same card, it's a lot quicker to just do the top. And so that is our card. I thought it was adorable to, do something a little different instead of having it higher, bringing your focal image down a little bit, putting your sentiment through the center there, and then breaking it up with another piece going through there, and then adding these little embellishments to kind of bring your eye back up. And then with that nice embossed background, I thought it was a gorgeous card. I really like this design. And so I have another one that's this same card, but it's in a different color. So I'm going to do that one. Now I have not done the stamping for it. And this one's going to be in Cherry Cobbler. And it's the same DSP packet. So I'm going to go ahead, open this up. I'm going to stamp first so it has time to dry. And I'm going to use that same sentiment just because I have it on my desk from last night where I was getting everything ready. And where'd that piece of here? This is a piece of scrap paper. And we're going to use this for that technique that I was telling you about. All right. So I'm going to ink up the edge and stamp because I'm not certain if I have ink still on there. All right. I think it's just the darkness of the Cherry Cobbler. All right, so I'm going to go. I like to get as straight as I can. That way, whenever I use my paper cutter, well, that's a little crooked. Well, I've got enough room. I can come down. This is why I stamped off camera for the first card. I must have it on the block crooked. I'm going to try it one more time. Otherwise, I can fix that when I'm cutting. Get a little closer to me. I'm probably overcorrecting on this one. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so we're done with that. I want that to dry a little bit so I don't, for some reason, red ink smears with me. So, all right, so let's put this together, which you already know how it's going to go together. And sometimes I like to show twice. Oh, sorry about that. And that was a text message. I thought that I turned everything off. But let's check. No, I did not. Sorry about that. That's my husband's text message tone. Sorry about that. Maybe the mic didn't pick that up because it's a noise canceling. All right. I'm going to put that here on the front. I'll go a little quicker with this one because you've already seen this. And find my dimensionals. There we go. I'm going to grab the take your pick tool and see if I can do it a little quicker. Maybe, maybe not. You've got to get it at the right angle to do that. Now, you can bring it up if you don't like it being that low. I can bring that up like that. Now, I'm not pressing it. Now, I'm going to take these and we're going to add them to the little bits. I hope these are cut correctly. I was cutting them while I was waiting for the go live. And so, and I was doing it from memory, which sometimes isn't so hot. Oops, 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 oops. There we go. Grab my glue again. I may have to switch to the evening time, at least until mowing season is over here, because everybody keeps mowing and trying to chop up what leaves are falling already. We have the leaves falling here. All right, so I'm trying to figure out there we go, which direction they go. I'm going to add dimensionals to the back at each end. Whoops. I'm going to have to look that over again. Okay. This way. All right. The back's on there, so I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but it was stuck to my finger. All right, take your pick tool. There. I said you got to get it at about the right angle. But once you tear the backing, it's harder to get it. Like this one's tore. I have to get that one by regular means. All right, so let's add this to the card front. This one's a little bit more directional. which is fine. All right. Now this one's a little bit darker because of the pattern paper that I put on there is darker. And so I think it's going to turn out really pretty. You know, I just need another Christmas card, so I'm trying to line this up at the bottom and line up on the edges. Did not mean for that to stick. See, I tore that, but it'll still go down and stick. There. And press everything down. That looks pretty good. Isn't that pretty? And then all that gold. All right, so now we're going to just cut this down. And I have my paper cutter here. And I have my thing to show you. Now, also, whenever you do the trick I'm going to show you, it does pretty well for a while. If I want it larger, I'll cut it down just a little bit, not as much as I did for the other card, and see if I like it better. Snipping the little edges off. And see, this is getting all rough again. I don't know if it'll, there, you see all the ends? So then if you have a sander and you can use, they have nail files that have different edges. I get a lot of paper dust in my craft room because I have to sand everything. There. And you just knock off the edges. I'll set this over here to the side for now till we're finished and ready to show you that little trick. And you may already know it. And if you do, that's awesome. But if you don't, it may save you some grief. I had to figure out all kinds of things trying to figure it out. Now, it used to be if I cut 2 pieces, it would work. But now then it's starting to, the second piece that I cut is the frayed one and the top one's not. So it's half as much sanding, but still sanding. See, I like the glue because you have wiggle room, but sometimes it wiggles when I want it to just stay still. There we go. Isn't that really pretty? I like the red one too. I like the Secret C one because of the fact that that's one of my favorite colors, but also there are multiple colors in the DSP and it makes it pop when you have that. Like I said, I'll add my sentiment later whenever I pick one, and I may go through my old Christmas stamps and find one. I'd like to find one that's a little bit larger. You don't have to write like if it's a birthday, you're wanting to wish them, happy birthday and different things, but for Christmas, you put your sentiment in there and sign generally. Okay, there's a piece there. So I have this piece sticking out right here. What I do to get rid of it is I take my Take Your Pick tool. I just run along there and tuck it under and it's gone. So that saves with that too. So there's that one, and we're going to add the little embellishments. I think I'll do them pretty much the same. I'm going to change my sizing. Just a bit. And there's nothing to put on there, so that's where I'm going to stop. All right, so here's the one we just made now. Here's the one we made earlier. And then here is the one that I made as my sample to make certain that the card worked. Aren't those beautiful? So now I have 3 cards already made for my Christmas cards, and I have another one of these cut out to make also. Whenever you're cutting, it's so easy to go ahead and just cut 2, as long as you have the supplies, like if you have enough DSP. So what I do is I score my cardstock at it's an 8.5 by 11. I score it at 4 1/4. Then I turn it and cut it at 5 1/2, and then I get 2 card bases right off the top. And if I'm not going to make 2 of the same card, I have a stack of card bases where I have them so that if I want to make a card in a hurry, I can go through my card bases and I might already have that finished, and then I don't have to cut another one. So it saves me a little bit of time. So our mystery card has been solved, but to show you that trick I was talking about, I'll bring these back in when I'm finished with that. So I showed you how everything was fraying, and I have cleaned the track out. I've put on a new blade, and that does not matter. So I can take this piece and I put a piece of cardstock down in there and I swipe it and get all the dust and everything out. And I do it 2 or 3 times, and see, you get lots of dust down in that track. So that sometimes can help, and I can't get that off there now, but it doesn't all the time. So I had right here, a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut it, and it frays just a bit. So let's bring this in, see if that'll help. There. So the edges are frayed. It's not really bad right now because I've done this trick and it lasts for a few cuts after you've done that. All right, so my trick is I need to find my paper that I have. Oh, here it is. When you're going to cut your cardstock and things are really bad on fraying, and see, I've already got paper in my track right here. So for some reason, so I'm going to put this on, let's see, this piece was cut at 1 1/4, because I think, yeah, it's 4 inches. So it was cut at 1 1/4. So I will put this in here at the 1 1/4 mark. I'll bring this down. So I'll look here, find the 1 1/4, and get my cardstock lined up. Then I take copy paper, just plain copy paper, slide up underneath there. Once I've already have it down, I'll slide up, and I just barely, here's the track, and I just barely go over, maybe 1/4 inch. Then lay it down with the paper, copy paper under the cardstock, and just cut. And I get a crisp edge every time that I do it that way. Here. So this is a crisp edge, and this side has that fraying on it. Not as bad as some of the others, because then now that I've done that, I'll cut another 1 1/4 without the paper, and it's a crisp edge. So I can get 4 or 5 more cuts, depending on how bad yours is fraying. And I can cut, so I can do it one time, and then I can just cut normal for, I don't know, maybe up to 4 cuts. And then you'll have to put the little piece of paper under it again and cut. So that has really saved some of my projects, and it saves me time just sliding that up underneath there and not having to do all that sanding. So I hope you like that tip that I gave you, because it has helped me out a lot. And so if you do a lot of cutting, and maybe I've got, this is a new paper cutter, and I just cut so much paper, and I know other people do too. I just cut so much paper that it just starts fraying, and it does okay when I first get it, but then I have changed blades thinking it was that. I just wonder if the track that my blade goes through maybe gets a little bit worn, and so I think it has more of an opportunity to fray. So I hope you like that little tip that I gave you. I hope that you love these cards because I just find them to be gorgeous. I truly love them. So 1, 2, and 3. So they're a lot of fun. I don't know. It makes me happy. So thank you for joining me for mystery stamping. And hopefully you can join me again. It'll be in 2 weeks on October the 16th. I go live on my business Facebook channel, and that is Creative Coach Lisa Fulford, and it's at 11 o'clock Eastern. So until next time, happy stamping.